Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, issue 6, Joshua Williamson writing with Daniel Sampere on the art. The penultimate issue in the event, and I have to say that like there's stuff in this issue I really liked. There's also some things in this issue that felt a little out of left field. I don't want to say tacked on per se, but it kind of felt like some. It felt like by the end of this issue, we had dealt with Pariah, and we seemed to have shifted like the main focus of the threat onto someone who didn't feel like he was as big a deal in the book.
No,
before.
No, but when we get to that point, I appreciate Williamson trying to make it feel like a big deal.
Sure.
Because I really like that reveal and with what that character says. But yeah, it almost seems like the Pariah story ran out of juice. And it got fixed when the Justice League finally shows back up, but it never felt fulfilling. So I don't know.
I think
because again,
the other problem with the Pariah story ending is that it ends because the MacGuffin that a group of characters got in a one shot that wasn't that good. I think ultimately ended up just being this like instant win device in this issue, at least as far as Pariah goes. Obviously, the Great Darkness is still infecting someone, and we still have to deal with that in the final issue. And I'm sure there'll be a big thing that happens for the ending.
Yeah. But it definitely felt like it wrapped up too neatly, too quickly with Pariah, because we had this whole issue with the one you're talking about where they used the green to go into the darkness and whatnot. This whole concept that Pariah is using the Great Darkness, not the Great Darkness using Pariah. And it just, when Pariah gets what he wants, which is the return of his Earth, he just kind of disappears. Like he does the Flash ending from the original Crisis where he disintegrates, but you're assuming he's going to his Earth there. But yeah, I was like, this is going way too quick, I felt.
There's things I like in this issue. I like, all the various Titan-esque characters fighting the big fight. I like, probably the best moment of the issue is John trying to buy time for the others to use the device, and he gets the shit kicked out of him to the point where he's about to get killed by Doomsday. And that's what, and it's very telegraphed. You can see, exactly what's going to happen when you turn the page. That's when Superman's going to be back and help him and save him.
But it still lands. It's still a great moment.
Yeah, you turn the page and Clark's holding Doomsday's fist, and it's like, no, he's here now. And, it's a great big dramatic moment. It's really well done. There's a weird. So early on in the book, right? We were at the Justice League, and they're talking about getting back to the main Earth, and something to do with using the light of the Green Lantern ring or whatever to get back. Blah blah blah.
The brave and the bold, thing.
So what was all this thing with Ollie? Like, so he gives this speech about how we have to risk it and try and get home, which is fine. But then there's kind of this weird implication that he's at risk by doing so, like specifically him.
So the way that I took it is it's kind of like when we were reading World's Finest, where someone has to shut the door, right? And it's almost like he was volunteering to be the one that gets left behind. That's how I read it. But I don't know because I didn't get any of that information beforehand.
Yeah,
right?
I just this felt kind of weird to me. Like, I don't think it clearly defined what exactly was going on.
I felt like I was missing a page.
Yeah.
Right?
Very odd, very odd. I mean, I appreciated Barry and Hal swapping catchphrases, when they were powering up and stuff, but that was a bit weird for me, I thought. I appreciate all these C-listers coming in to help with the big fight during the war, and then immediately getting infected with the Great Darkness, just instantly. Sorry, Firestorms.
Boom, boom.
Sorry, Blue Beetle. Your efforts were in vain.
Yeah.
I got a good chuckle out of that.
Yeah. Well, and I like too that it's the Titans that are kind of left standing, right? And it's looking at this in a meta context. It's Williamson saying Nightwing is still central to the DCU, and he's the last line of defense here. But so the fact that the Justice League come up to support him, I really like that moment as well.
Yeah, like I say, the best moment is probably not only like Superman showing up to like block Doomsday from punching John, but just the build up to it where John's remembering these moments from his past as he's like fighting Darkseid and Ares and like all these major villains.
He's getting the utter crap kicked out of him, and he's having these happy memories, and you feel like, oh, this is it for John. Again, but even though it's telegraphed, it's still done effectively through Williamson and Sampier. So yeah. But yeah, no, it was a weird issue because I felt like I was missing something, but it was still like you said, it still had those big moments that it does well. So,
yeah, this felt like some of that weaker later Flash run Williamson was creeping in a bit here, where it just didn't feel well enough to establish some of the things that were happening.
Yeah, I don't know. Superman shows up. That's where the story kind of is. So
the big ending is that the Great Darkness is passed into, or at least is still around inside Deathstroke. So now Deathstroke's going bananas, and he's got Dick by the throat. He's got his daughter by the throat, and he's saying that I'm not done till all of you are dead. But this just feels so weird though, because the entire story's been about Pariah doing his thing and controlling everyone, and now all of a sudden we're shifting to Deathstroke as if he's the main bad guy. I don't know, it's a bit weird.
Right. So for me, the way that I interpreted all this was Deathstroke was the one that Pariah was acting through, right? He was the one that was building the army. And so whereas Pariah was the one that was corrupting the Great Darkness, now that mentality has shifted to Deathstroke, because he says that his contract isn't fulfilled. Which that's the thing that I really liked at that last page. Is because that's, always been his thing, is he's going to finish out, he's as good as his word. He's going to finish the job. And so I don't know how they're going to get out of this with the Great Darkness, if there's, that magic wind machine can work on Deathstroke, because what does Deathstroke want besides to win? But yeah, he also had this really good moment with Gar, where he basically tells him that he'll actually end him this time. Last time was to test his limits, and I thought that was really good. But yeah, he's just maniacal there at the end, saying that he's going to finish out his contract. And I was like, all right, that's a little bit weird, but I appreciate the moment nonetheless.
Yeah, I just feel like there was a complete shift at the end where it's trying to like I just don't care about this cliffhanger. It just feels like such a, if this was an earlier issue cliffhanger, that'd be fine. But the fact that this comes after seemingly Pariah's been dealt with just makes it feel like, wait, this is the cliffhanger at the final issue. This feels like so deflating when it should be like the final big ramp up before the, I was expecting them to hold off on the Justice League return until the last page to give you this big hopeful cliffhanger before it goes into the final issue.
Right.
And instead, we kind of like do all that quite easily, and then it's just, oh, now Deathstroke's kind of in charge of everything. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be more to it next issue. Yeah. But as far as this cliffhanger on its own goes, I'm just kind of deflated, which is a shame. I didn't want to feel that way. So, well, there's some really great moments in this issue that are some of the best of the entire book, in terms of the series. But it's also probably the most disappointing issue as a whole because it is so deflating by the end to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Sometimes I always feel like when you have one of these, the penultimate issue should be the big climax, and this felt like we didn't get that. Because I feel like issue 7 should be kind of the come down and the reestablishing of the new status quo. And other creators have done that effectively when they have the 7 issues. Here, I just felt like it felt to.
Well,
I don't say nothing.
I would say it does do the climax, because the climax is them beating Pariah. It's now pretending that there's another big thing to do.
Right, and that's what I mean. Is but the climax didn't have it didn't feel fulfilling. Like Pariah just disappears. So there's a climax there, but it doesn't feel like the climax, at least to me. So.
I know, it's regardless of how it feels. I'm just saying that is technically the climax of what the story's actually been about up until this point. And I'm sure there'll be some stuff in the final issue that makes me sort of reconsider that. But at least right now, this is probably this is the lowest I felt at the end of one of these issues, just because it feels like it's tacking on some extra story rather than feeling like it ended its story in a big way and we're going to have an epilogue issue, which would be fine. I'd be down with that because there's usually a lot of stuff to clear up after a big event like this. So an epilogue issue makes a lot of sense. This instead this just feels like a weird swerve to have another issue with a big fight, and I don't think I need another big fight. Like, I'm fine with not having a big fight after this. Like, we've done plenty of fighting. It's fine. Like, it would be. I mean, the art's very good. Sampier's, he's been solid throughout. He obviously gets to do a lot of different characters here. He gets to do a lot of the villains as well. His big 2-page spread of the Justice League with the Green Lantern Corps returning. Obviously, is very pretty. It's a very, John's event style 2-page spread. Obviously, the big moment where Superman blocks Doomsday Punch looks really nice. You've got all the sort of rocks flying up in the foreground. You've got the sort of circular motion. You can sort of feel the shock wave of the punch being blocked coming off of it. It's all very nice stuff. So yeah, the art's pretty good throughout. I enjoyed the art quite a bit. Yeah. So anything to add?
No, nothing. I mean, it's Sampier. Like, it's it's good. But yeah, I'm trying to go back. There was one page. I read this earlier in the week, so I have to look. Oh, it's the page where Darkseid tears Frankenstein in two. And that looks disgusting in the best way. So Sampier gets to have a little bit of fun with stuff like that.
I'll make one. This is a very minor critique, but on the section where it's the Justice League before they come home, so they're in whatever Earth they're still on.
Yeah.
There's a sort of further back shot where I didn't know who someone was talking to because it turned out it's Batman, because compared to the other panel, it's the purple cape that Batman's wearing in this weird alternate Earth, but there's no ears on this like smaller panel. So it looks like some sort of purple Dr. Midnight or something from behind. And it's one of those things that threw me for a second. I'm like, who's that? And I went, oh no, it's Batman. Okay.
Yeah, you're talking on the in between the Wally and Hal pages or panels. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very minor thing. It's a minor critique. I'm not going to be too harsh about it, but
for sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No. It's it's good, not great, I would say. This whole issue.
Okay. All right. What are you rating Dark Crisis issue 6?
I'm gonna give this a 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with I'll go 6.5. There's things in it that I really like, but there's also some weird choices and stuff that just makes it feel less structurally sound as an event book. It feels like it's I don't know. It is reminding me of some of the weird choices Williams has made before in other books that have left me feeling like, not that he doesn't know what he's doing, but like it's almost like he's trying to like go against like traditional structuring in an arc for the sake of being different. But there's a reason why, unless you are a genius, there's a reason why sticking to the established structure is why you do it. But whatever.
Well, it was like I learned in film school, right? Is you want to follow the rules until you're confident that you can break them for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah. So in here, it's you still need to follow the rules, because when you do stuff like this, when you break the rules, but it doesn't look like it's justified, it just kind of leaves people confused.